Hello everybody, and welcome to the first video on my new channel. So just a quick background real quick. I did have a YouTube channel I started in like 2011 or something, maybe before that, 2008. And it's had a variety of things on it. It wasn't very focused, you know, has 1,000 subscribers or something like that. I wasn't very dedicated. But recently I decided that I wanted to make a new YouTube channel focused mostly on automotive things, and that's what this is. So welcome to the first video on my new channel, Limited Slip Automotive. And today we're just going to be doing a quick trail test of my car, car that I drive every day, which is a 2015 Toyota Rav4. And we're going to see how it does on some trails out here. We're starting off on Switzerland Trail, which is pretty easy. We're going to go up Gold Mine Hill, if you're familiar with that from the fast lane car truck videos. And then we're just going to continue on, and I'm mostly exploring today, so I want to make this channel to kind of do automotive reviews, kind of automotive adventuring, off-roading, maybe any upgrades that I do to the car or new cars that I do purchase in the future. Clean off the windshield right here real quick. But as I said, I wanted this channel to be more focused than my other one, more specialized content, and you know, I want to put more effort into it and do something I like and be able to share it on YouTube with you guys. So as I said, 2015 Toyota Rav4, the only quote-unquote mod that's been done to it is I have all-terrain tires on it, which are the Yokohama Geo 15s. Otherwise, that's all this car has. So I want to take this opportunity to kind of go over some basics of off-roading. I'm sure there's some people watching this that don't have any clue about off-roading or any of those things. So this car is equipped with all-wheel drive, a locking center differential, which is sort of a gimmick, and all-terrain tires that I put on. That's about what makes it as off-road worthy as it gets. And what this means is I have the no four-wheel drive system, no low-range gearbox, and no locking diffs in the front or rear. So that means, I guess we'll start with the difference of all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is a pretty much automatic system. There are some cars where you can select your terrain, so for, you know, mud, snow, rocks. But other than that, it is mostly automatic. And there are two types, usually front-wheel drive bias and rear-wheel drive bias. This car is a front-wheel drive bias. So that means if my front wheels slip, the computer automatically sends power to my rear wheels. So if I drive over ice, snow, water, something like that, it just ensures that I have at least two wheels having traction, and that's due to differentials. It is all-wheel drive system, which means all four wheels can gather power, or can gain power from the computer at any given time. And the difference between that and four-wheel drive is a selectable system, usually seen in off-road worthy trucks and SUVs. Now that means when it is not selected, that vehicle is always in two-wheel drive. So you have to turn it on yourself by either switching a knob, or there's a lever that shifts the transfer case. And then once it's in four-wheel drive, it's essentially like an all-wheel drive car. You just have power to all four wheels, except the torque is split 50-50. Now that gets us on to the topic of differentials. And just a side note about what I just spoke about. Four-wheel drive is more capable for off-road. I'm going to stop at the base of this. Differentials lock what's going where. So if you have a front locking differential, it forces the front two wheels to spin at the same rate. A locking rear differential forces the rear two wheels to spin at the same rate. And the locking center differential, usually seen in all-wheel drive cars, sends the power split equally 50-50 to the front and rear. It doesn't lock the differentials in the front and rear though. This car does not have locking front or rear differentials, just the center, which means I'm sending 50% of my power to the front and 50 to the back. So here we are at the bottom of Gold Mine Hill. This is the benchmark for the fast lane car and truck, and we're gonna start going up it. Now the thing is, from the camera point of view, it doesn't seem pretty steep, but it is pretty steep, and it is pretty bumpy as well. And the tricky part is this corner that's coming up. Make sure that I don't scrape the side of my car. So I'm gonna stop right here is pretty bumpy and steep. And describe and tell you guys why this corner is so difficult. With a car like this that doesn't have locking front or rear differentials, if I lift a wheel, the engine's gonna send all the power to the path of least resistance. So that means when I go around this corner, if my front right wheel lifts off the ground, the engine and computers are gonna try to send the power to that, and so I'm not gonna go. And that's when my back wheels come in. It's kind of a tricky corner for all-wheel drive vehicles. If you had locking differentials, this would be absolutely no problem. You can check out the Fast Lane Car and Truck videos on that. Because even if you do lift a wheel, you're totally fine because your other wheel is spinning at the same rate. So here we go. I did video of this in another video that I have, and we can see that there is some slippage, and this is actually very rutted out. So I'm gonna aim for the right side and spinning the tires. We're spinning the tires, and we are around nicely. Spinning my back tires now, and there we go. So it seemed pretty easy. I took an easy route. But what I'm gonna do now is pull over and we'll get an exterior shot of the vehicle. Alrighty guys, so here we are. There's the dog. Here's a look at the tires. The Yokohama GeoLand or Geo15 All-Terrains. And these are a bigger size. This is the biggest that fits on the car. We can see they're almost rubbing there. But let's go take a look at this hill real quick. So this area right here is very rutted out, and we can see that it's easy to lift a wheel, and once that wheel is lifted, all the power is going to try to go to that. So by taking the outside line, I minimized the amount of articulation the car had to do, and we got up that fairly easily. Still spun the tires a little bit, but I think that can also be a bit attributed to these all-terrain tires. I have gone up this with the stock tires on the car, and it didn't do terribly well. I still made it up. But let's just have a quick walk around. This is what we're running for now. So if you are familiar with the Fast Lane Truck and Car, like I said, this is their benchmark that they use in Boulder, Colorado. That is stage 3, and I'm not going to go up that because it is extremely rutted out and I don't want to bottom out my car. But we'll continue exploring. This is mostly what I want to do in this video. And then see what else there is to do. I have driven around this trail quite a bit, but I would like to go to some places I haven't been before. So coming up on this area that we're going on right now too, there's a big rock to my right, and then it's rutted out, as you can see on this side. So I usually try to keep the car up on here. That was everything losing traction. Around here. And up on the top part of the trail. Make sure no one else is coming. Cool. So I know a Toyota Rav4 isn't the most exciting vehicle to make videos with. But it's all I got right now. I think my long-term goal of this channel, or I guess, just anything in general, is I like to buy a Jeep. Maybe a CJ or YJ, one of the older ones, something cheap ish, and see what I can do. And I'm trying to remember what direction I want to go at this point. I think I want to go left. Yes, that's correct. We're gonna go up here. I want to buy, a cheap Jeep, maybe $5,000-$6,000, something maybe that already has a lift kit on it with either a limited slip or locking rear differential. I'm honestly not very educated in terms of Jeeps. The only thing I know is the new ones, the JK and the JL. If if you get the Rubicon, you get locking front and rear differentials, which is phenomenal for off-roading. But I don't have $60,000 to buy a new Jeep and put tires and a lift kit on. So that's the goal of this channel. We're working towards a Jeep, or maybe some other off-road worthy vehicle. I just say Jeep because of the locking differentials. I do know that they have a history of being rather unreliable, burning oil and all that. So, you know, maybe a Tacoma or a 4Runner TRD, maybe by the time I have enough money to have one that has both locking front and rear differentials. Now this left-hand turn is basically like the one we just went on, a bit difficult and it's very rutted out. So I'm gonna go down here. So I don't know if you could hear that. I would love to get outside camera angles of this, but it looks like it's about to rain and I don't have the waterproof case on the GoPro. Last time I made a video, the audio quality was bad. So next time I come up here, I can get some external shots. I will put the GoPro on the outside of the vehicle on the way back. Or at some point, I just, you know, I can't do commentary while it's on the outside of the vehicle. But like I said, saving up for something more off-road worthy. But with that said, this is a fairly easy trail. And Rav4 is doing pretty good. It's not bad. You know, it's not a very heavily used off-road platform. So, you know, if they made like Dana 44s and lift kits or whatnot for a Rav4, I'd be down to making an off-road warrior, but there aren't many off-road parts for this vehicle, and it doesn't have underbody protection. So ideally, I don't want to spend money making this more off-road worthy because there aren't many options for what to do with it. There are lift kits, but you know, I don't think it would be worth putting a lift kit on this if it doesn't have good axles or ratio or even a low range gearbox. So that's where we're at. But regardless, I mean, with the exception of that hill that I just went up and what I've been calling Gold Mine Hill, I think you could do this in a two-wheel drive vehicle. It wouldn't be fun and it wouldn't be good for the car. You may bottom out quite a bit, but there's nothing that challenging that you need four-wheel drive except for those turns, those off-camber turns, because obviously a two-wheel drive vehicle isn't gonna have a locking differential, and so if you lift a wheel, you only have power going to the one wheel that obviously isn't touching anything, so that would get you quite stuck. And I figured, I guess I should have mentioned, since this is the name of the channel, what a limited slip differential is, since I've gone over locking differentials. So just to reiterate, locking differential makes the two tires on the same axle, or the two axles, I guess, coming off the differential, rotate at the same rate. So if one's in the air, it's going the same speed as the one that's on the ground. A limited slip differential is a little bit less capable, but what happens is it's usually on the rear. A limited slip rear differential is there's a clutch pack inside the differential, and so during regular driving, that clutch pack is not compressed, and so you're only driving one wheel per usual, maximizes fuel economy. However, once you go onto a trail where your axles or your wheels start to slip, the way the gears are aligned, it's actually, I don't know the exact name for it, but the way it's a 90-degree gear, it actually torques itself and pushes away from itself, and that clutch pack that's on the slipping axle will be compressed and it will lock the differential.